Record.
Hello and welcome to the DXDAO BizDev call for Monday, 29th of November, 2021. On the agenda today, we have Liquidity and B protocol presenting, and there's like a DAO talk post on that. Under DXbiz, we have the Atlantis World by Tammy, a few carrot interests that we have, Initiative Dao that's been talked about in the forum, a proposal for stake rewards on Swapper, which I don't know, has it passed? But yeah, and then Gnosis Chain discussion and ETH Denver under DX events, and I think we also have someone new. Is that right, Melanie?
Yeah, we do actually. So we have a new member introduction really quickly. I believe he is on the call, Van Grim. If you just wanted to give a quick intro to the DXDAO community here, you can just tell everyone about yourself, a little bit about yourself, just your background, how you kind of found out about DXDAO, and then, yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Van Grim, new to DXDAO. Really happy to be here. I was introduced here by Seth. I currently work as a full stack engineer, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here and see what I can contribute.
Definitely. And then just a little bit more about Van Grim. He's a developer traditionally working in the Web2 space. Zet brought him and introduced him to us, and we're looking forward to seeing how he can kind of contribute to our development team and just to the whole DXDAO ecosystem moving forward. So big welcome.
Yeah, welcome to DXDAO, and feel free to share more about yourself in the chat, and yeah, sync with one of sort of like the teams here. Yeah,
definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So up next we have B protocol and Liquidity, and I think Yaron is here. And yeah, Yaron, take us away.
Yeah, thank you. So let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay. So thank you guys for having me. I'm Yaron. I'm the CEO, founder, lead developer of B protocol. B protocol actually does a lot of stuff, and we backstop now not only Liquidity but also other protocols. But in the context of this call, I will focus on what we do with Liquidity, and specifically with LUSD, which might be relevant to DXDAO given that you hold some LUSD, might want to get some yield over it. So first of all, for those of you who don't know, so a quick background on LUSD and what you can do with it. So basically, LUSD is a stable coin, and it is protected by so-called stability pool, where users can deposit LUSD, and then they get two things. So the one thing they get, and this is the main motivation, I think, for you guys, is that they get LQTY rewards, which are Liquidity's native token, which historically was between 15 to 13%, 30% APY. By doing it to secure LUSD stability, basically you facilitate liquidations, and you also get some profits when LUSD is needed for liquidations, and then you get some ETH. Now this ETH is given with some discount. However, you as a DAO, right? So I mean, eventually you want to hold LUSD, and you don't have a nice and automatic way to convert it back to LUSD. Okay, maybe saying same words now in a diagram. Right, so without B protocol, if you want to get some APY, you just deposit LUSD into the stability pool, and you end up eventually with some ETH and LQTY. With B protocol, so we build on top of Liquidity. But by the way, again, as I mentioned, We also build on top of other projects. In the future, we are building now a stability pool for MakerDAO, which will have DAI token. We have USDC and USDT stability pool, but on Arbitrum, which probably less applicable to you guys. But with liquidity, so basically what you do, you deposit your LUSD in B protocol. It goes to liquidity stability pool, and then whenever there is a liquidation, we have an automatic rebalance process that basically sells the ETH back to LUSD according to some algorithm and deposit it back into the stability pool, where the algorithm rely on a price feed, which is the same price feed that Liquidity is using. So there are no like kind of extra security assumption in that regard. The algorithm simply price the ETH for sale according to Curve Finance like formula, but eventually, you just get a smart contract that offer the ETH for sale. And then we have Paraswap and also Kyber Network who aggregate us and offer this ETH for sale in return to LUSD. The discount varies according to the imbalance of the pool. And eventually either, users in Paraswap will take it because it's the cheapest price and they want to buy LUSD, or eventually it will hit some arbitrage price, with Uniswap, and then arbitrage bots will take it. And we also spawn some Gelato automatic keepers that will take this arbitrage if it reaches arbitrage price. But overall, okay, so this is fully automated, but fully, so fully on-chain and fully botless in the sense that we do not operate any bot. The security here does not rely on any single operator or bot, etc. So yeah, we do a bunch of other stuff beside liquidity. Okay, so the reward side here is potential profits from the liquidations, but mostly LQTY rewards, which are Liquidity's native token. We also currently have our own B protocol liquidity mining reward, but the reward there are smaller and more subject to changes, while liquidity mining reward is kind of like 4 years long time reward program. So this is the reward side. On the risk side, you could lose here. There are no free gifts or free lunches. So once there is a liquidation, LUSD is converted to ETH. Before we sell it back to LUSD, the market might continue to crash. And by the time people will, buy the ETH, you might end up with less LUSD than you started with. However, given your, entire LUSD inventory is $1 million, which is not even, I think, it's not even 0.5%. So it's actually exactly 0.5% of the entire stability pool in liquidity. So, in order to obtain significant losses here, it would basically mean that, liquidity backstop, had a major loss. And one could argue that, if this were to happen, maybe LUSD itself might be at risk, right? So at your size, I don't think the trading losses are significant. Also, of course, our rebalance algorithm was simulated and backtested, but of course, there are always risks. Of course, there are always smart contract bugs. Our contract was fully audited. It's live for a few months now. And by the way, we also have a $500,000 bug bounty on HATS. Also $100,000 bug bounty on Immunify. So there are the usual, smart contract risks, but we are nice people and we care about security, etc. So before this call, so there were some concerns if this can be actually executed by a DAO or not. So everything here is fully on-chain. The DAO simply needs to approve and deposit its LUSD. This is a simple contract call. And if you want to go out, you just withdraw. You don't need to do any active, management, given that you are fine, that, eventually your rewards are in LQTY. If you want to do something with the LQTY, you do need to periodically, have some decisions. But other than that, it's fully automated, fully kind of hands-free operation. So yeah, B protocol team. So now about us, we recently announced a round which was led by 1KX. I'm the founder and lead developer. Previously, I was CTO of Kyber. We did a Bitcoin initiative. Before that, I was doing a mining pool, which was also decentralized, a smart contract mining pool. Eitan is our leading ecosystem development. He did his first ICO already in 2014 for a ride-sharing application. And yeah, we have another full-stack developer, Shmuel. And yeah, basically that's us, and this is what we offer. Yeah, we'll be happy to answer questions if you have any.
Yeah, super cool. Thanks, Yaron. Yeah, anyone has any questions? I think at any rate, we will have to use Gnosis Safe in order to interact with your contracts, because it's just the way that, the sort of like the DXDAO DAO works. But yeah, I don't know. Dave, I think like this is mostly on you. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no questions from my side. Interesting presentation, and definitely been looking into it already, but no questions at this point.
Yeah, Dave and I had a private call with B Protocol a month ago, right before the retreat. So we're pretty familiar. This is why we invited them to do the presentation. I'm really interested to learn about the L2 game with USDC and USDT. We actually do have a governance base on Arbitrum.
Yes. Okay. So this is interesting. So we went live about a week ago with 100 Finance, and there currently we offer something like 20 to 30% APY in HND token, which is their native token. Basically, there you backstop is collateral. So you deposit either USDT or USDC, and whenever there is a liquidation of is collateral, then we liquidate it. So it's kind of a stability pool to a compound fork, if it makes any sense to you. And then we apply the same automatic, rebalance. Yeah. So basically it's the same, only numbers there are small, but current APY is bigger. Also, the way it was designed, that it's kind of orthogonal. I mean, the security of the backstop does not rely on the security of the lending platform, in the sense that if there's some kind of rug pull in the lending platform, it does not affect the backstop, because we use our own independent price feed, which is Chainlink price feed. And we always verify, the kind of the return we get in the liquidation. So actually, okay, so on this computer, I don't really have an Ethereum wallet. But if you go to 100 Finance, 100. Yeah, okay, so if you connect your Arbitrum wallet, okay, you didn't have a MetaMask here. Yeah, okay, I'm not sure what is my password here. Anyway, so if you go to the Arbitrum tab here and then click on the USDC or USDT, you can see you will have a backstop tab. And yeah, basically it's the same like LUSD, only for for a compound fork.
And you just recently started your liquidity mining to provide stakers with LQTY tokens or actually BPRO tokens, right?
No. So LQTY is given by Liquidity protocol, and they are live, I think, for over half a year. And their liquidity mining, is kind of fixed, and they cannot change it for the next, I don't know, 4 years or something. With B protocol, we also have a liquidity mine, but that's on top of it. Right now, it's planned to last only for another month. After that, it will change, and our DAO will have to vote on it. It's not really sure what will happen there, but either way, even now, the majority of the APY is from Liquidity and not from the protocol.
Yeah. My idea was around how long it would last, and you're saying incentivizing stakers on your end with BPRO tokens would last for at least another month. We've just released a new framework for performance-driven conditional KPI tokens, where you could distribute rewards based on certain metrics being followed and goals being achieved, like a TVL in a certain pool. So you would only distribute rewards to stakers in a pool if they reach a certain TVL. So that would be an interesting avenue for us to collaborate.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, our current program, we are doing something similar with UMA. But yeah, either way, this program we kind of provide, it's a protocol, and again, we don't operate anything, but it's kind of, like a service which offer easy deposits, right, in Liquidity. So I don't think, we'll ever have a very big liquidity mining from our side here, because liquidity mining is quite enough. Likewise for 100 Finance, but yeah, definitely along the line, especially as we go live. So now MakerDAO voted and is letting us build a stability pool for MakerDAO for some collateral there, and there it will be DAI deposits. So yeah, definitely we'll have additional liquidity mining program, and yeah, we'll be happy to collaborate. Also, we'll be happy to answer more details on the Arbitrum trench, and yeah.
Hey, Aaron, thanks for the presentation. I think both great projects. And I was just curious, is it liquidating the LQTY or just the ETH in terms of?
No, the ETH. The LQTY is not part of the collateral. No, it's ETH. Also on 100 Finance, we liquidate ETH, but yeah, also on LUSD. Yeah. So it's only ETH.
Cool. Yeah, I think this is a great fit for DXDAO because DXDAO's treasury makeup already is very heavy ETH, and with also a good chunk of stable coins. So like the risk of, the potential risk here is that you're buying up ETH as the price of ETH goes down. But I think that could kind of be factored in. This is sort of, I guess, up to Dave here, who's managing our treasury. But yeah, I think it kind of fits well.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this is Colton from Liquidity. I just wanted to throw in really quickly, we have this Dune dashboard that might be super helpful for like calculating that type of stuff. It tracks all of the liquidations and the date that they happened and whatnot. So you can see actually the moments that the stability pool bought ETH, and then you'll be able to see how ETH performed after those purchases, just for factoring into those sort of situations.
Oh, that's super cool. Have you by chance done any kind of modeling that, like, hypothetically, if ETH were to drop to 2,000 or something, what would happen? But I guess you don't really know, right?
Yeah, we don't know for sure, but we also have another blog post that might be really interesting. I'll try to pull it up really quickly, but it kind of walks through the first time that Liquidity kind of handled a big crash. I think it was on the May 19th crash. I wrote this recap that kind of walked through how the system handled it and where all the ETH was liquidated and whatnot. So I'll share that in here as well for you guys to read through, just to get an understanding of like how the system works in events where ETH is dropping really dramatically. And then you can kind of like cross-check some of the data with the Dune dashboard as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I would say probably the next step here would be to straight up make a like a signal proposal with Dave probably. And yeah, like I think I don't know if there's anything else missing. But yeah, I think we can just vote on this.
Yeah, I guess just kind of quickly putting into the context, I guess the other things, like, so I think there is this we have a forum post. They put a forum post up for the staking ETH for treasury diversification, and I think that should go probably to a proposal sometime maybe this week. And then I think the next step after that is looking for yield on the stable coins. But I wonder if like we should be first getting our toes wet in like the very, very vanilla Compound or Aave, or should we kind of go for the B protocol LUSD? I think this is kind of like the second step for our stablecoin yield that we could do because it requires a little bit more complexity than others. But I think this is definitely something we should be moving towards in conjunction with the other treasury moves we're making.
I think the other dimension for DXDAO is they're sort of alluding to this with the treasury makeup. It's actually probably acceptable to just keep the ETH as the price goes down, or like just to buy back the ETH, which I guess kind of then makes you question whether DXDAO really needs B protocol. But I mean, I think that would be part of the discussion. And like, you know, once we get a forum post up, then we'll see what people think.
Yeah, but so one thing to notice here is that I think eventually, you know, in the current setting, most of your profits will come from LQTY and not the ETH, right? I mean, not from the trading profits. And on the ETH you do not get more LQTY, you know, rewards. So this is also something to take into account.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely see the value of B protocol, and it would be like something I would be interested in personally. I guess what I'm saying is like there is this trade-off rate for the DAO, like of if we use B protocol, there it's just like additional exposure to smart contract risk, and you kind of with any of this stuff asking what is the benefit, and the benefit is selling that, like compounding that ETH basically, right? That you're
so the compound is not only selling the ETH back to LUSD, but also kind of compounding your ETH and, you know, get LQTY over it, right? And, you know, currently the profits from LQTY will be much bigger than the profits from the liquidations themselves.
And I just want to touch on really quickly.
And also, Yaron, you mentioned that you have an integration with Compound, actually, right?
No, with a Compound fork with 100 Finance on Arbitrum. And someone here asked if it's VFAT. So yeah, it's VFAT's project, so Vasilios' project, yeah.
And I just wanted to add in really quickly on the liquidity side. So the LQTY you guys will be earning can actually turn into another revenue source. So all of Liquidity's protocol revenue is distributed directly to LQTY stakers in the form of LUSD and ETH. And staking comes with no extra risk outside of like basic smart contract risk and then price risk of LQTY. And the yield on that is usually in the 10 to 30% range, sometimes a lot higher. But that's also on the Dune dashboard. And again, those rewards are paid out in LUSD and ETH. So you'll be adding on to that exposure rather than adding on to LQTY exposure through staking. So that could be another interesting opportunity there.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think also LUSD is very aligned with DXDAO from a decentralization maximalism kind of standpoint here, right? Where, you know, unlike Maker, it doesn't rely on USDC, et cetera. So is there also any way, any other potential you see, Colton, for how we could help, you know, on the usage side of LUSD, basically?
Yeah, it's really funny you ask that because we've recently only just started thinking about this DAO treasury thing. So the timing of this whole conversation is really good, mostly because we've had, I mean, I honestly think you guys might be the first DAO that actually acquired LUSD and it kind of slipped past us. But then we've also had DAOs like Olympus DAO and Fate Protocol, for example, start to acquire a bunch of LUSD. So we're starting to think of ways that, well, one, we want to make sure that all the DAOs are using the LUSD as productively as they can, and the stability pool is one good route, just because it's the sort of like quote unquote, risk-free yield on LUSD. But as we start expanding LUSD's adoption throughout DeFi, like whether it's through Curve and Compound and Aave, et cetera, which we're working on the listing processes for, I would love to start exploring how we can help not only you guys, but other DAOs sort of diversify their usage of LUSD such that it's, productive for the whole Liquidity ecosystem. But I'll definitely be like circling back on some of that because we're really starting to think through this stuff. And if you guys have ideas or like reservations or whatnot, that's why we kind of wanted to hop on this call. That way you guys know you have an open line to us to bounce any ideas or ask any questions or raise any concerns with.
Well, I have one comment. So like one of the primary uses for DXDAO with its treasury, I mean, the main thing is to build products, right? Which involves paying contributors. And so many contributors take their payment from DXDAO in stable coins. I think typically, I think the most popular ones are probably USDC, maybe DAI after that. But I think one of the main factors there is simply the cost of offboarding into fiat, right? So basically, so the way DXDAO works is most of the contributors are getting paid on XDAI to avoid the gas costs of mainnet in terms of the proposal process. But then as a contributor, you're still faced with the challenge of like, okay, I have either USDC or XDAI on the XDAI chain. How do I get that into my native currency wherever I am, right? So if there's ways to kind of like beat like whatever the current best, like most optimal path is there with LUSD, that could make LUSD basically an attractive payment mechanism for DXDAO.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I would love to, I can send in my Telegram or Discord or whatever you guys use to coordinate some of this stuff. I would love to hear like what that whole process is like from paying a contributor for them offboarding into fiat. That way I can start to figure out how we can like plug into those various ways and I guess take the most effective route to get that done. Because I agree that would be amazing if we could help people not only get paid in LUSD, but also offboard into the real world. So I'd love to understand the process that you guys use. That way I can strategically approach it, I guess.
Yeah, happy to help there. And I think it would also just feel better for some of us, who care about decentralization to not be getting paid in a centralized shitcoin like USDC.
Totally.
And so, support something more decentralized in our daily activity, kind of economic activity.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. What do you guys use, Telegram or Discord, or what's the preferred?
Yeah, so usually would open like a Telegram group with
cool.
some guys from your end and some guys from DXDAO, and then we'd share the link.
Just shared my Telegram handle, so if anybody wants to grab that and spin one up, I'll make sure we get everybody added on our side too.
Yeah, awesome.
That's great. Yeah, we also have a channel with Derek in Discord, and we can pick it up from there as well.
Yeah. So yeah, any other questions or? Yeah, I think very good vibes here from this. So. Yeah, if there's no other questions, I guess we can move on to the next topic, which is Tammy and like the Atlantis opportunity that we are sort of like talking through right now. Tammy, you're here?
Hi, I'm here. I apologize for the music in the background if you can hear it. I'm at a cafe. Okay, so basically just checking in with everyone on like kind of approach with Atlantis World. I felt like the community call went really well. It seemed like the Discord group seemed into it. So the main thing I'm wondering is this Alicia Keys song is really loud. I apologize if you guys can hear it. So basically I'm wondering if the best approach would be for a $50,000 grant, but mainly just to connect our products to Atlantis World and then focus on having like a DXDAO space. Like I see the DXDAO space is kind of cool. Maybe if we can connect Discord to it, that would be interesting. But I would honestly see it more as like a onboarding thing. Like just having token holders be able to use it seems like a little clubby at this point when we're trying to get like DXDAO's name out there. So I thought it would be way more useful to like when DX Vote is ready, have DXvote basically as an option for some of these DAO platforms that go on Atlantis World, and then also have Carrot as an option for some of these projects to basically use that, and then Swapper, things like that. Any opinions or thoughts, or if it's a good idea or bad idea, or completely don't support it?
I support it. I think if there are no, I don't know if anyone has any like objections. I think we've chatted about this for quite a bit, but it's
it seems like good. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right,
I have a funny idea. Why not make this really a precedent in DeFi and put our investment towards Atlantis in Carrot as collateral and have them withdraw it when they reach certain KPIs? It will be really good marketing.
I'm not sure I'm fully following.
So the problem with that is, it's a good idea, but the problem is that we need to, I think the idea is, so they're bootstrapping right now, so we have to fund them to build it. So in a way, we're saying build it and then we'll give you the money. So I mean, it is kind of like a bounty in that sense if you do it that way. But I imagine, I mean, Sky, that's my only thought.
Yeah, so what would be interesting, and I think Carrot in general should always be thought of, at least at this point, like in addition to. So what would be really cool is we say, you know, here's $40,000 or $50,000 grant, say, and then we're going to put another 10K in Carrot and have like a really aggressive goal around DXDAO's presence in the in Atlantis World. And it basically would give DXDAO an advantage over other projects because the team sees like, oh, if we do this extra work for DXDAO, we're going to get an extra 10K. And it's like, it's got to be in addition to, right? Like bonus. And it can be even $5,000. It doesn't matter the actual amount. It just matters like, yeah, the marketing, like getting their team to like think about it, putting that out there into their ecosystem would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and a really cool metric would be them launching on XDAI chain. The moment they launch their app on XDAI chain and can onboard users, then they can withdraw the next tranche and so on.
Yeah, so the hardest thing in general with Carrot is really defining, and we know this from Omen experience, and we've seen this even with the first two launches on Carrot, like the exact specifications of what the condition is very, very, is the most important thing, like the actual exact words, because like, what does it mean for Atlantis World to launch on XDAI? Does that just mean you can choose XDAI chain for like one little thing in Atlantis World? And so like the exact details matter. And so we'd have to put a lot of thought into that, but I think it's a cool idea. And that we have to have this conversation with every single project that's interested in Carrot, basically. And this was another topic on the call, but yeah, like the exact figuring out what the condition is, whether it's possible, and then whether it's gameable is like the most important thing in all conversations around Carrot, basically.
I think that's a really good idea and could be a perfect structure for this initial deal. Like basically have it be connect. I mean, I need to check in with you guys, but like if we could connect Carrot, if we connect DXvote for like DAO usage on the platform, that would be really awesome. And I think that would be like the first step. And then pluses could be XDAI chain launch, connecting to Discord, things like that. You can like have very specific things that would actually unlock the funds from Carrot. So yeah, and it's a great idea. Okay, that's it on my end. And I think we talked about this enough. I just wanted to let you guys know there's going to be an on-chain proposal and just to see if there's any against feedback or anything that I should be aware of. Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Tammy. So yeah, up next we have, if there are no other questions, we can move on to some Carrot stuff.
No, just one thing. So there's a probably we have a handful of on-chain proposals that are like gonna come this week, maybe. Some are like related to DX Ventures, some are related to like Pocket integration or whatever. Is there So there's always ways to do this where we like pretty much we already know signal. So like in some cases we don't need additional signal. We actually need a proposal to like move the actual money. In that case, the way we've done it with DX Ventures is really like the on-chain agreement is there should be like almost like the contract that we help draft, but like Atlantis World is going to propose that to DX DAO, and then by DX DAO voting and then approving it, it actually is like signing the agreement and moving money to the project. So I'm not sure if that's the proposal that we're talking about, Tammy, or if it would be if you were thinking Signal first. But I think in general we like have Signal on a bunch of these different moving initiatives, and so just figuring out exactly how to do the on-chain proposal and who it comes from and if it moves money, I think is the thing we need to just like figure out before we move ahead with each one. And some will be Signal and some will actually move money, I think, right?
Okay.
Well, I guess Tammy left. Oh, right. So now Tammy had left. Yeah. So I don't know if other people had thoughts about that, but it sounds like, yeah, eventually we need to get these proposals where they actually like are the agreement between the two parties and they actually move the money. That's what we should aim for.
Yeah, I agree. So I mean, I guess we can go on with just like fully on-chain proposals.
Cool.
Yeah, so up next we have the Initiative DAO kind of like idea that, I mean, there are a couple of versions of this in the chat. And yeah, I don't know, do we want to continue talking about this? Do we want to make, I don't know, another sort of proposal with the different versions and then upload that as, I don't know, after we get some feedback from the forum, upload that and decide what we want? I mean, I don't know.
I've been thinking, several people suggested we should have some security measures in place, like stating that reputation could be slashed if someone misappropriates funds or doesn't act as promised. But how should we act in case we want to expand to non-reputational holders, like members of the wider community that have not yet earned rep but would like to contribute?
So, like with this, honestly, like if we're gonna allow people to spend $5,000 or $1,000, I don't think like we should think of the security just yet. I mean, we should assume trust and we should assume that these people are not going to steal the money. And if they do, then, okay, it's $1,000 that are gone. The way I see this, and I wrote this in my comment, is that the goal is to reduce the friction from like trying to spend money. And this necessarily means that we're also taking like a little bit of risk, but this risk is mitigated because it's, $1,000 max. So that's kind of like my take.
Yeah,
and I also view it as an experiment where, I'm not so much worried about the potential downside of losing the money, because I think it's more the risk of like maybe it doesn't work at all, but it's cool to see whether it actually works.
Indeed, yeah, and that's why I suggested maybe we should even incentivize participants, like tell them that if their campaign is voted to be successful, we can even reward them. In a way, that will be like a reverse bounty.
Yeah, I mean,
instead of the DAO ideating a fixed term bounty in advance, we just let it to the creativity of the community for them to think of ideas themselves. And once they implement and execute, if we find them successful, we can reward them retroactively, or we could actually use carrot, as I suggested, to put their potential bounty in there. Like if we give them 1,000 to spend, we could put another 200 in collateral. If the campaign is voted successful, they actually earn 200 in whatever token for the successful implementation. If not, the money is returned to the DAO. Or as Russ suggests, maybe even rep as a reward. Yeah.
Yeah, and so again, I think like we should just get something going, and then like I like the fact that if someone makes a successful initiative, then that we should, like, I don't know, maybe top it off and give him some reward, like a personal reward, like rep, or I don't know, maybe even some USDC or a less centralized stablecoin, but whatever. Yeah, or NFTs. Yeah.
Yeah, these could all be good ideas, but I think it's like first things first, and it's kind of, I'd be more interested to see kind of feedback from the first people to actually receive and actually do something with the money.
Yeah, agreed. So, I mean, there are a couple of versions of this, of like how to do this, how to actually fund this, and I think like a main one is it open, like for anyone to participate, or do we pick whatever 5 or 10 people who are going to be a part of this? And then yeah.
Also, one last thing: do we need to think of some, not legal, but some kind of like terms of agreement for engagement? If we give someone money, do we need to tell them in advance what's like a no-no? Because if someone spends money on some influencer shilling coins, that's something the DAO isn't backing. That we never do that. We don't support that. We don't want anyone to pump coins. So do we need to lay out terms in advance, or should we feel safe to go with it? And if something happens, reprimand those afterwards? Would it be too late?
I mean, I would say just kind of like as a basic line is that don't do things that are shady or scammy. And I think that should cover it. I don't know how other people are feeling.
So I just posted the section that from Sky's post, right, about like who would be in it. So I do think it makes sense to, like, we need to get people who know about DXDAO. So drawing on the pools of people that have already kind of proven to be very involved, whether that's, have a certain threshold of rep, like participating in Discord, they're like a higher rank in Discord, or like have a certain amount of DXD. Like I think all of those could be things, right?
I mean, that's kind of one version, and obviously I like sort of like my version better, where it's sort of like anyone can come and request, and then obviously if it's someone from Discord that hasn't been participating in anything, then maybe we won't give them the money. But I don't know, if it's anyone that has ever been on a call, like in my eyes, it's like these are the people we were supposed to fund. I don't know, I see something cool on Fiverr, and I think like, I don't know, $300 would get me, like I need $300 to pay that person to create, I don't know, a video or an animation or something. And that's kind of the way I see it. It's like the spontaneous.
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned Fiverr. It makes me think of something else. I've dealt with Fiverr, and it's actually full with scammers, people who post wonderful resumes, and the moment you ask them to do something for you, they start begging you for money upfront, and it clearly shows that that's just some scammer, and they will never do any work. And just to avoid that, the people we give money to do this for us, they may get scammed by such people. And then can we blame those people for being fooled by a scammer and losing the money? So we should have a rule that whoever utilizes money should never spend it up front to avoid such problems.
But on Fiverr, you don't pay up front. Like,
yeah, I'm saying if someone gets fooled, someone begs them to pay them up front, and they do the foolish deed of paying up front, then if they are genuinely like stupid, doing a mistake, can we blame them, and how do we fix that? So should we have a rule that they should never spend money up front, like make it explicitly clear that they should be careful?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can do that.
Yeah, and also I agree, maybe we could do both. Do what John said as a quote from Sky's post, and if we don't have enough volunteers, then we fall back on your idea to let anyone come up and we approve them.
Yeah, so maybe we'd try to narrow down these details, do a on-chain proposal to like allocate some amount of money towards this initiative, have that in a place that could, like, I mean, maybe it's DX Voice, multi-sig, or some probably on X that would be easier, but a place that this could easily kick off from, so the money's already like ready to start being deployed. So it needs to be like put somewhere, I think. Yeah, the DX Voice one's on mainnet, so maybe we can replicate it on XDAI.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, there's the DAO talk. I don't know, Nathan, if you want to like put up some of these rules that you were talking about, which I think are great. Yeah.
Yeah, we could do a list and use a signal proposal.
Yeah, I mean, so this is something that I don't think we even need a signal proposal. Like, just these are the rules. This is what we want to do, and I'll send that 500, whatever, 5K or 10K, whatever we decide, to the multisig.
John, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just chatting it. Like, I think, yeah, I wouldn't overthink this. I think the important thing is to get it out there and start experimenting. Like, I'd be in support of basically any iteration of this, like, because it's a relatively small amount of money, and the goal is to seek new and potentially innovative ways of doing things.
Yeah. Yeah, we might even end up attracting some cool people.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I have thoughts about like how can we do this like community inclusive, and I don't know. Maybe tell them that, I don't know, they first do it and then we refund them after we see the result. I don't know, but maybe this is like a second iteration.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next topic, if we don't have anything else. Yeah, the proposal for stake rewards on Swapper has passed. Do you want to talk about this maybe?
Yeah, so well, we can get those. I think now that that's passed, there's been obviously distraction around the next topic as well, which is the Gnosis XDAI merger. There's probably going to be a snapshot proposal or multiple proposals that are going live at some point today, if they're not already. That's the main thing. There's been like community involvement, like rallying to like organize and things, but it's not very clear like how it will fit in and what like the outcome will be. So I think there's going to be, these snapshots, and there's going to be voting around these snapshots, but there's more than one snapshot. There's like one in the Gnosis community, there's one in the stake community, and so once these votes happen, I think there has to be additional discussion for like how to proceed and do things like that. So it's still an ongoing conversation. It's like what everyone's paying attention to right now. So yeah, feel free to get involved and follow along. And if you have any new ideas, share those as well. Separately, we will aim to get the stake from the Echo Fund, and then we can start to maybe use the stake in addition in multi-rewards in the next campaigns. And there was also a call to like have projects in the space also nominate different projects and things. So now that there's like clear stake rewards being involved as well, like get their community to propose new ideas and projects also to DXDAO for the liquidity farming. So that will all probably be happening this week.
Also, just a shout out to Sky and Keenan for moving quickly and organizing this kind of Discord server and group on the XDAI from the XDAI community to pursue kind of getting some percentage of the GNO rewards. Like, I think this is a great initiative for DXDAO, and just, you know, even separate from the potential incentives out of the pool of GNO, I just think the networking actually with the XDAI community is perhaps the most valuable thing here to kind of involve DXDAO more with the other projects on XDAI and show some leadership there.
Yeah, and actually one of the questions like Martin came back with, or the Gnosis team came back with, was like, okay, like we could potentially give these incentives, but like who's going to raise their hand and say like, I'm 100% committed to, you know, this XDAI Gnosis ecosystem, because that's what any layer one would want, right? But we kind of gathered information from different projects and stuff and have shared this, but it's not very clear because almost no project in the space is like committed to one chain, right? Even Gnosis themselves, even the XDAI team builds stuff on other chains like mainnet. So it's hard to like get any project. And so DXDAO, we don't live on one chain. We now live on 3 chains, and we could live on more chains. So even though like, yeah, we're psyched to use, you know, XDAI and potentially this future XDAI Gnosis chain, it's not like it's not DXDAO's only commitment, right? Like it's not a sole commitment. So it's we want it to succeed, and we're obviously heavily invested in XDAI, and that's where our governance is mainly done, and we have all of our products there. And so we are committed, but we can't like, we're not writing like an exclusionary agreement, which is what some layer ones might want, but that's not really possible, I guess. So we have to, it's a balance between all the different things we're working on and all the different chains we're interacting with, I think. So
did Martin mention something about exclusivity? I might have missed.
He basically said like, oh, all the projects that are like in this potential XDAO, which is this community DAO, like which ones are committed to XDAI chain or Gnosis XDAI chain, and which ones have a plan to like jump and go to another chain, right? And so he asked that question, and we started to gather facts about what different projects have publicly said, but it's not black and white. So I don't even know if you can really answer that question like in a useful way, right? Like,
oh, I see it now. He's asking like which projects are multi-chain versus, and like what's their actual commitment.
Yeah. So we've made a table with the different projects, and what we've said for like DXDAO and a whole bunch of projects is DXDAO has a commitment and wants XDAI to succeed, but we also do multi-chain, right? Like we're on mainnet and we're on Arbitrum as well. So that's all we can say at this point, I think.
Yeah. I suppose we could, I mean, to frame it in a more like kind of bullish stance, I suppose you could say it's like our secondary after the Ethereum ecosystem. If you look at it that way, right? Because like Arbitrum is really like a layer 2 to Ethereum, and sort of maybe the same ecosystem in that way. And XDAI is the only one we've branched out to separate from Ethereum. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, and yeah, they're going to do what they're going to do anyways too, right? Gnosis, I think, like I was kind of saying before, like the networking and the leadership within the community is probably the more important thing.
Oh shit, I was muted. Do you want to continue going and chat about ETH Denver?
I think, yeah, Melanie and I are connecting on that, and we're working with the ETH Denver team, and we're basically drafting, what like a proposal would be to like do the on-chain, like do the contract. They want DXDAO to sign a contract, which we've said DXDAO doesn't sign contracts. We don't have a legal entity, and so we want to do it on-chain, and we have done things like this on-chain, and they're being a little conservative, I think. So we're working through that, but ideally we do an on-chain agreement and pay for the sponsorship kind of that way.
I mean, I've seen sort of, someone could send us the contract, and then like we could sign a transaction from like a multi-sig and ratify that on like IPFS. And then it's sort of like the multi-sig is signing it. I mean, it's not really the DAO.
What do you mean multi-sig signing?
You make a transaction. I guess you can even make a transaction in like a proposal in DXDAO.
Pretty sure they want a human to sign, no, Sky?
Yeah, but my whole point to them is like a human signing is not stronger. Again, like from a DXDAO perspective, it's not stronger. It's not a stronger agreement than having an on-chain agreement.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I think in the HATS contracts, I mean, don't quote me on this, but in the HATS contracts, they just have like a hash of a transaction inside, like, the paper contract. So yeah.
It's something similar for the Space Inch one, or like the way that we wrote that proposal. There was like a contract that they signed, and then it was like with DXDAO, and then like DXDAO's signature was a link to the proposal that passed. And so like I don't know if they want to be creative like that, but I'm imagining they actually want like to sign the contract with a legal person just because they don't really know what to do. So I don't know if that would help them, but
should we get Zet to design us a signature?
It changes based upon who votes on the proposal and executes it. It's unique.
It's just a DXDAO signature that we...
Yeah.
We need to like
an NFT maybe?
Yeah, so we can NFTs from our on-chain signature, and it creates like a handwritten looking PNG.
But like that would be fun. We could do that, but I imagine they want like the person human thing, right, Sky?
Yeah, but a human signing on behalf of DXDAO like doesn't mean anything. So it's just some random person just writing DXDAO. Like that doesn't mean anything. So what we want to do is just like what we do with Opolis, just an on-chain. Like they make a proposal to DXDAO. DXDAO votes on it. If it passes, that is the signature. That is the agreement. That's the only way DXDAO can actually agree to things, right?
Yeah, I think we should do our best to try to convince them that's okay. But maybe I would think they're looking for a legal entity and not like a person per se. But I mean, who knows? Got to talk to them.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye out. That proposal should be coming soon as well.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. You can stop the recording. We can continue chatting.